Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and today's car is the Aston Martin DBS 770 Ultimate. Now, this is the final edition of the DBS that first came out in 2018. This is the third version of DBS I've had on Harry's Garage. I started the coupe in 2018 and we didn't really get on because I tested it in December with winter tyres on. Then I tried the Volante in 2020 and I really quite liked it. So Aston have tweaked their final edition with an enhanced body kit on it, greater aero, different wheels, all sorts of styling cues. They've also given it another 45 horsepower and they are insistent this is the best driving DBS of all. Let's go and have a closer look. I think the biggest visual change on this DBS Ultimate Edition is there's a big change to the clamshell bonnet. Basically, they've added this vent here. They wanted extra cooling. We first saw this sort of design on the V12 Vantage I had in a few months ago. It's just with the increased horsepower, they want extra cooling from the front, and that's one way of getting greater volume through the radiators. It's a big carbon bonnet, so they've done a few extra things. This is carbon fibre. I think this is slightly bigger, these vents. And the front has this extra bit of silver, just changes the look of the car more than you'd expect. Come round and they've got this great design of wheel. We saw it on the Victor, now it's in production, 21-inch wheels. You can either have them in silver, satin black, or this diamond cut look. I should say the paint is a very dark metallic blue. They actually describe it ultramarine black, and outside you really need sunshine to make this pop and actually see the blue element. Come round, we've got different sort of carbon fibre treatment here. I'm not sure that was on the coupe. Carbon roof, which is standard on this model, it was an option on regular DBS. And then this side sort of wing here and this extra sort of winglet on the sill, which is getting completely beaten up with stone chips. This is a fairly hard working press car, but look at the state of that. And all around here, even though it's got protective film on it, there's a lot of stones coming up hitting that rear haunch. But it is a wide car. It does feel wide when you go around some of the roads we've got around here. But it's also a practical car, and they've also enhanced the rear valance on this car, so it's deeper, and again it's got that silver accent on it. It's got privacy glass on this car, the smoked rear lenses as well for the rear lights, etc. And it's got a decent sized boot. See down here, because this is this trick venting. If you peer up this vent, you'll see that the air is rushing past the back window and then vents into the boot and then exits the boot lid here at this rear wing to make this wing do magic things. Don't know if it all works, but it's a reasonable sized black hole there, and you get a body. I'm not sure if that's standard knowing Aston, probably not. But I think the star turn obviously in this car is the engine, so let's have a quick look at that. Now, clamshell bonnet as ever. Look at that giant piece of carbon. Lord knows what one of those costs. But yeah, 5.2 V12, essentially the same engine as we've had in DBS and DB11. They've changed the air intakes on it and the intercooling. They've given it slightly more boost pressure, and that has given it the headline 770 PS. Also, you can see how tucked up it is against the bulkhead, this V12, but actually the weight distribution on this is 51 front, 49 rear, so it's not as rear biased as perhaps something like the Ferrari 812 Superfast. I still grumble, living where we do, that the open wheel here, if you just look down at the wheel, it's very good for checking the tread on your tyre and the suspension, but it also chucks muck everywhere, and it's one of those frustrating cars to keep clean. But we're not going to worry about that now. What I want to know is how this drives on my favourite bit of road, so let's take it outside now. I do like the way the doors sort of go up and stay there when you open them. It makes getting in and out easy. Unfortunately, the seats in this particular press car don't make it quite so easy. These are the performance seats, and I remember them from the V12 Vantage I had in. They have this hard shell, this carbon fibre shell that gets you. If you're not aware, every time you get in and out, I find But although they look like torture devices, once you're in, they're very good. And yeah, I have mixed emotions where how much I like them. I do like them on the move, but every time I get in and out of the car I think, well, I'm not sure if I could live with these. Elsewhere it's all very similar in here that we've got used to with DBS. Unfortunately I get an extra bit on here and a little buckle that says DBS 770 Ultimate. You also get a plaque as you clamber in saying one of 300, because it's 300 coupes, 199 Volante, so 499 in total. If it's a limited run car, and at the price point we'll get to in a minute, I would expect it to be numbered rather than one of 300 in coupe form, but that's just me. If I was spending £350,000, I am told. I know a lot of people are saying it's about 315,000. I know friends who were looking at ordering one of this car, and dealer was saying 350-ish for coupe, 375 for Volante. So this is a very expensive car. And yeah, I'm going to start it up because it's quite warm today. And I want a little bit of air conditioning and things. We have to remember also that it's a 2+2. They're peculiar seats. I mean, I can see they've got Isofix in there, but you need a pretty trick Isofix seat to go in the back. They are very occasional seats in the back, but it's sort of useful, as we all know, for luggage, etc. The only thing with these seats is you're not reaching around very easily, but they are there. Other things I find very odd is this centre console. You sort of think, oh, does it lift up or whatever? No, it's electric, and you move it back like that. You can have cup holder things here, and you're meant to put your phone there, and there's a leather bound iPhone cable there so you can plug that in should you wish. And I'm going to get this out of the way straight away. I just can't stand this centre console on here. It's such a letdown when you've got this glorious exterior and the star and everything's finessed to the finest detail, and then you've got Mercedes stuff here and it's all good, and this plonked on screen. It unfortunately really ages the DBS, and I wish it would go away. You can just press off on there and it disappears, or you can get rid of the screen. In front of me, just a fairly straightforward speedo in the middle and two side things, lovely pedals. This quadratic wheel with a flat bottom, you can get around bottom as option, and the beautiful B&O speaker tweeters that pop out the dash, which I am completely sold on. Other things to note, there's this great lump on the windscreen that I don't see because I'm looking at a rear view mirror, but if you're sitting on the passenger side, all you see is this lump in the windscreen, which you don't really want. Anyway, that's the interior. I love how you start it, and it's very obvious V12 from the off. Doesn't seem to matter, it's got turbos on it. I like the way it's manual adjust on the wheel, just on this pull cord here, and then electric for everything else. I'm going to press drive. Right, I'm going to head out of here because it's the chassis dynamics. Aston tell me what is the big change of this car, so I'm really keen to find out all about that. I'm going to turn that screen off, it just bugs me. Turn the whole system off. Just take it up here. Yeah, you're not going to get bored of the sound of this car. Yeah, that's... Oh, I've just seen, I had it in Sport, but it has these three settings you do on the wheel. Sports Plus, GT is its default setting. I'm in that now. It calms the gearbox down a bit. Dampers are set on this side, but it's just as it says on the tin, GT. I just use S just because it just livens up the gearbox a little bit, and it just changes down quicker as you approach corners, start to brake. But anyway, that's for another time. And it's quiet. I've measured it on my noisy bit of road, 76 decibels, so proper GT levels, you know, really with Bentley Continental GT rather than 812 Superfast. It's odd, the wheel. You don't want to like this quadratic wheel, whatever you like to call it, non-linear round wheel, but my hands fall very naturally to it, and if I was ordering a DBS, what a lovely position to be in, I would choose this wheel. carbon fibre paddles on this car, big carbon fibre paddles. They've livened up 8-speed ZF gearbox again, monster amount of torque, 900 Newton meters of torque. But that fact it's got the ZF auto gearbox is why it's such an easy car to live with. I love the sculptured sort of door mirrors on here that give this wonderful view of the rear flanks, this muscular haunch on this car. Really noticeable, just really nice bit of design, but the windscreen is quite narrow when you're looking out. You notice that the engine is quite tall, but I want to squirt it up the hill. So here we are doing 30 miles an hour and full noise. Whoa, don't worry. It just, yeah, that was in sport, and it just hesitated. It dumped that power. They have retuned the engine on this, they tell me, so it doesn't deliver absolute monster torque in the lower 4 ratios. It's managed like Ferrari do, and I'm a big fan of doing that because you can just completely overload the rear wheels when you've got this much torque. 900 Newton meters from 1800 RPM. It's crazy. My Zonda was nowhere near that. And they're 305 tyres, so they're not massively crazy wide. They're silly wide, but not daft wide. And I think it's a very clever thing to do, is to manage the torque when you've got that amount in the lower gears, but it still just overloads. It's super dry today, and then, I've done it a few times up that hill, and it always just hesitates as it dumps the torque. You can turn the traction control off on this. I have tried track, that's quite good, but it's a bit of a performance. You have to go into here, and it's not obvious. You go to assistance, as it's termed, and you think, oh, my dial in a 999 sort of roadside assistant, but no, in there is blind spot indicator and ESP. I wish it was just an easy way of adjusting it, but I suppose they want to hide it from owners who think, oh, I'll just turn everything off and try and drive 770 horsepower, 900 Newton meters in the wet and wonder why things go wrong very quickly. I don't think it's got a launch control on here, but I'm just going to put it up to its more aggressive setting, Sports Plus. No, it doesn't. Yeah, I can still see that. Yeah, punchy. The claimed 0 to 60, 3.2 seconds, 6.4 seconds to 100. It's a 1770 kilo car, this, and 2-wheel drive, just mechanical diff. It's well managed, it's nice, it gives you a proper taste of performance. It's not stupidly fast like the 296 I had in recently, the Ferrari 296 GTB and cars like that. So I like that. Down here, beautifully done, the damping. Whoever signed off the dampers, I sort of know who it was, but stunning. Just the way it manages down here. Feels sporting, but they're rounded off. And I drive this bit of road because it's rubbish bit of road. And here's the, is it camber deflected? Not at all. Straight as a die. None of that GT3 992 nonsense. Beautifully done. The chassis dynamics on Aston have really come on recently. We all criticised DB9, that era of Aston, for just unpolished dynamics. DB11 thought, hang on a minute, they've learned something here. V8 DB11 really showed what they could do, and this car is similar. It is top notch on just the feel through you get from the steering. They've also, they say they've managed to stiffen up the front end by 25%, some bracing underneath the engine and taking some rubber connection, solidly mounted the steering rack. My first question, well, why was it rubber mounted in the first place? This is your flagship DBS, what are you doing? But whatever they've done, it's all for the good. It's just a shame it's only on the ultimate version. I ought to just say that the regular DBS, I never got in it and thought, well, that's a load of rubbish, but this is enhanced to another level. But I wouldn't dismiss the DBS just because this has been enhanced. It's still a very nice car to punt around in. soon as I touch the pedal, I'm in manual mode, dead easy to control, and then if I want drive, I just press drive or regular automatic round it. Now I expect it to be really good round here. Yeah, I've used the tool. I'm only 3,500 and that was a proper push in the back. Just sharp, easy to place. Yeah, tricky off camber there, straight through it. Right, I think it's time to do some likes and dislikes of this car. Well, on the dislikes, first dislike, the interior. If I was improving this car on the Ultimate Edition, I dearly wished they'd focused on trying to tidy up this interior, just make it, disguise the Mercedes bit a bit more, get rid of the screen. I know it's hard, but they've enhanced the exterior look, but this is what I see all the time as the owner. I look at the inside. Two, just the size of the thing. I'm fairly used to sort of crazy cars, but this feels really quite wide. I think it's accentuated because, as I've mentioned before, the narrow windscreen and the big hips on it just feels, you know, you are aware you're driving a very wide car on British B roads like this. And three, well, the price would sort of be alright if there wasn't depreciation. There's a bit of an elephant in the room with this version of Aston DBS, because I check them on the classifieds quite regularly, and you can now buy a 10-12,000 mile DBS for 150, either side of 150. Volantes are from about 180,000. They seem to settle there, and it's seen similar with 812 as well and F12. They got into the 100 and somethings, and then they sit there. But it's quite a fall if you got in at 300,000. I don't know what sort of deals the Aston dealers do. Maybe they're not getting in at 300. But yeah, price and depreciation. But there's lots of likes, and I think my number one like is just the connection I feel with this car. It's rare when you get a big, powerful car like this and you feel instantly connected. Everything is lovely. The steering feel is really quick wrap, 2.77 turns lock to lock. The brakes, carbon brakes, no initial grab that often carbon brakes suffer from, not on here. Beautiful. Around here. Yeah, it's a little invasive, that track control. It is better in track. I haven't got the time to go through all the menus to get down to track, but I would use it quite often in dry conditions. Anyway, apart from that, yeah, I just feel connected to this car, and I cannot give it higher praise than that. Another like, just the sound of that engine. Yes, it's got two turbos hanging off the side of the V12, but there is an absolute definitive Aston V12 howl that I enjoy in this car, and then it disappears when I don't want it there. But you don't have to be pressing on to enjoy the vocal nature of this V12. Then the looks. Every time I step out and see DBS, which has been around 5 years, I have not got bored of the looks of this car. It looks statement, it looks ultimate Aston and like that, and I think that's my conclusion. This top Aston is so livable. It's sort of closer to Bentley Continental GT than 812 Superfast. Much as I like the Ferrari, it gets quite wearing after a while, sitting behind that crazed V12 that is just lightning fast and flashing through the gears. It never relaxes. This car does relax and gives you the GT. I love it's a road car first and foremost. There's no ring time sort of quoted for this car. It's a proper GT car, proper Aston, and I love it for that. And what a way to sign off this version of Aston DBS. So there you go, there's my conclusion on the new Ultimate 770 Aston. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, keep watching, keep subscribing, more videos coming along very soon.